Sorry, you were saying something? Oh, I gotta grab my headphones.
Yeah, I can hear myself, and as much as I love the sound of my own voice.
Give me 1 sec here. There they go.
It throws me off because the voice that I hear coming back is not the voice that I hear when I speak.
Never is.
Never is. My voice always seems to sound better and worse in my head. I don't understand how. I have Schrodinger's brain.
Oh, I'm a dumbass.
I mean, shit, you gotta be smoking weed if you're coming up with an idea to fucking put a cat inside of a box with some cesium radiation. Or a cesium atom. And then like, oh.
You talking about Schrodinger's cat?
Yeah, like you gotta be high as shit to come up with that idea. Wait, man, here, check this out. Okay, we're gonna put this cat, right? We're gonna put this cat in this box, and we're gonna put a timer in there, right? Alright, we're gonna connect that timer up to some cyanide or some cesium, whatever the fuck was actually. We're gonna go. We're gonna wait. And I propose there's a 50-50 chance that cat is gonna be either dead or alive when we open the box. There's another guy going. I propose there is a 100% chance that cat is dead if you open the box after the alarm.
Yeah.
Oh shit, you got me there, Frank.
Ooh, you a smart cookie.
Schrodinger would not have been as famous.
Exactly.
That's why every pothead needs to have an alcoholic friend.
As a balance?
Exactly. Then you need the one sober person just to be like, you guys are idiots.
Holy crap, my chest is sore.
Well, as long as your left arm isn't numb.
No. My right arm is right now. Went to the,
Shit.
Well, I went to the
One of
doctors and just did a couple like strength tests and whatever just to see how I'm healing, and it's healing, but Jesus Christ. Hasn't hurt that long since I realized what puberty was about.
Jesus. Just a heads up, music's playing.
Yep.
It's more like a Pied Piper. That's kind of creepy.
I turn on my stream and I see you doing this shit. What the fuck?
Welcome to another exciting episode of WTF ATTA podcast. I am your host. Joining me tonight is Jay without his headphones, D. Shit, you're coming in loud and clear. I mean, like
oh, weird.
Wow.
Okay, let me fix that. I can fix that
Alright, you can go to the website, WTFATTA.blogspot.com. You can go to the you can email us, WTFATTApodcast@gmail.com. You can go to YouTube and Twitch to watch us live. You can go to iTunes to get the podcast, go to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch to like and subscribe. Sundays, 8.
Hit me. You're hilarious. I'm Jay Media Jack, and joining me once again for the Flipside radio show is Eli, WTFATTA. You can catch me all over social media at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube, as well as Mixer, the one I keep forgetting about, but for some reason it kicks it out to it automatically all the time. And if you're watching me on Xbox, hi! Fortnite sucks. So
Fucking right, it does. What a boring ass fucking game.
You can follow me all over social media at those places. You can be a part of the conversation just by watching us and being a part, because we do have the chat feed up for myself at the Media Jack and for Eli at WTFATTA.
Yeah.
You get that out of your system?
Okay. No, yeah.
What?
I was gonna do a what the fuck, Little John, Lil Wayne.
Little John.
Little John. Okay.
Little Wayne doesn't yell like Little John does. Little John is
Okay.
yeah, is a big difference.
I was gonna start going through all the biblical names: Little Mark, Little Luke, Little John,
Little James,
Little Wayne,
yeah,
Little James.
Yeah.
The 12 disciples of Yeezy.
I have Dark Avenger Gaming in the live stream talking right now. How you doing, Chris? And if you have a chance to, of course, subscribe to Dark Avenger Gaming. He's Dark Avenger C86 on YouTube. And his show is going to be going live about a half an hour after we are wrapped up here. Quick update. I've now had the brace and wrap off for about a week and a half now. I did have a doctor's appointment today to just get a quick checkup to see how things are moving along. And it's doing okay. It's healing up actually a lot faster than they expected, which is great. I'm still not going to take any chances, although I have gone to the gym twice. And fortunately, I'm at a weight point where the barbells and the dumbbells that I'm lifting are wide enough that they encompass my hand, so that people don't see the fact that when I'm lifting, I'm doing this.
Sorry.
What?
AP just popped in with a message. Lil Wayne sounds like like he's choking, and Lil John sounds like he's the one doing the choking.
Yeah. This week Wednesday, but you don't have to say it. People will see it in the chat. Busy weekend, which is why we postponed. Oh, okay, fair enough. But yeah, it's the bones are healing. There's actually no need for another X-ray, which is great. The interesting thing that I've been dealing with is the fact that because when I was in that brace, my hand was basically locked in this position. So the tendons for these two fingers are tight. And so it's actually taken me a while to get to this point. But even still, I can feel... you just calm down. I could feel everything pulling from here. Eli.
I'm sorry. I'm such a child. Continue.
I'm explaining this to you.
I know, and it's killing me.
So I can feel all the muscles pulling from down here all the way straight up to my second knuckle.
Shit, every time you clench your fist?
Every time I clench my fist or even spread my hand out.
Ooh, that's just... Ooh.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's be a weird feeling.
It is. It actually feels like... it feels... It's kind of difficult to explain, other than the fact that it kind of feels like if you were to wrap a rubber band from your elbow to the middle of these two fingers, because it feels like it's constantly pulling back on it.
Oh my god! Can you imagine getting snapped by that elastic band?
That would hurt. I'd probably need the splint all over again. So anyway,
yeah, no doubt.
I'm healing up.
Good.
So. The fuck you laughing at, you childish?
It's just the way that your hand was shaped, and you were finally getting it back into a fist. You were working on that.
Well, yeah.
And then you were feeling a little tension with the pulling, and
it freaking hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sorry, my mind went straight dirty.
Yeah. So I have a couple of topics to talk about, and you said that you wanted to talk about the Liberals doing something shifty in Canadian government.
Sorry, say that again.
The fuck, man.
I was reading.
So I have a few things I want to talk about, but you were talking about something to do with the Liberals.
Okay, I thought that's what you said, but I wasn't quite sure. Yes. Fucking stupid goddamn Liberals. All right, so the new cannabis bill that they were trying to pass, they tried to slip in something like 40 different measures that are just fucking ridiculous. But there's two in particular that really kind of pissed me off. And I'm glad that our Senate basically said, "Are you guys fucking stupid?" No. One was forcing the provinces don't get a say. Essentially, you're getting an LCBO for marijuana.
Okay, that's being what?
That's just it. Like the provinces don't have a choice of the matter. They can't say, okay, we're going to do like a craft brew thing, so people can do their own type thing.
Okay,
right? Make a business out of it. No, the federal government wants the government to have a complete monopoly on it.
Really?
So, yeah, and then the provinces, some of which have expressed the desire in doing something like a craft beer, but maybe not even a craft brew, but just not being a government monopoly.
Are we talking about beer or pot?
Pot.
Okay.
Because,
Okay.
Yeah, the government wants to make it mandatory that it be an LCBO only. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is a bit more sinister, and it actually has rights advocates kind of up in arms over it because they tried to slip in mandatory sobriety checks, not for alcohol, but for cannabis. This is just wrong on a bunch of different levels. One, everyone is presumed guilty for the first thing, which is a violation of our fundamental law system. Okay. Innocent until proven guilty. All right. Okay. It may not work every time, but it's the fundamental basis of our laws. Number two is they are unable to give a 100% guarantee that that DNA sample is destroyed and will not be preserved. Okay. It's a DNA sample. Now, the fact that there are cannabis chemicals in there is used to prove it, and then supposedly they destroy it. But they need to retain a sample for evidence. I mean, you can't do that with a breathalyzer because you don't retain any of that information, as far as I'm aware. Unless they do have a system inside where every time the police officer removes like an internal cartridge to be like, this is that person's sample. But that would kind of be moot because after a point, the alcohol would be gone from it. So
yeah, because
then all you're left, and then all you'd be left with is just someone's DNA sample, which is a violation of your Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Yeah.
So their whole system is flawed, and it really irritates me because they have not considered the fact that some people can smoke weed and drive, and there's also going to be people who use it medicinally who don't live in an area that's readily accessible by public transportation.
Well, just like anything else that you intake into your body, and then that could be like you can take that any way, shape, or form, either intravenously, orally, or even psychologically. Anything you take into your body will be different depending on who it is. If you and I have the absolute identical steak sandwich, just as a silly metaphor, right? If you and I have the exact same identical steak sandwich at the exact same time, it'll digest and affect your body differently than it will affect my body. So
yeah, 100%.
So, like the blood alcohol content is another example. Someone who is much more adept to processing alcohol and is a avid drinker, is a seasoned drinker, can have a higher tolerance and higher capability than me on a good day because I rarely drink, right?
So yeah. Couple drinks and it's all right, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be the same thing for any sort of cannabis detection and also any regulation. There has to be a baseline somewhere, and like they have to draw the line somewhere. It's flat out. It's the same thing with alcohol, right? There is a baseline, and that is it. It doesn't matter what your tolerance is from here to there, and what your mental faculties are compared to anyone else. the baseline of the blood alcohol content is set at a specific spot, and that is what they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can see the point of view and I can see the argument when it comes to cannabis intake.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And this is why I suggest that there be a green driver's license, right? Where you smoke a bowl of government-regulated pot in front of a tester, right? They know they've provided the strain, so they know the intensity and how it's supposed to be affecting you.
Oh.
And if you're able to pass the test, then I mean, Rob Ford smoked crack, but the guy did a lot of good work for the fucking city of Toronto.
Well,
should all of his good work be negated simply because he smoked crack? That's kind of stupid, in my opinion. Right? I mean, if you really want to fucking hate the Nazis and you really want to hate the Nazis, then throw away your computer. Because if it weren't for the Nazis, you wouldn't have your computer.
well, if it weren't for the Nazis, you wouldn't have a lot of things like proper health care.
Exactly.
Yeah, and no,
Exactly. Yeah.
I get the argument, but you are like gonna have a hard time following justification.
My argument is there are people who have been doing this for a very long time. The government has only gotten into this at most in the last 2 years, and suddenly they're experts on everything, which is ridiculous. All right. And I mean, don't even get me started on the pricing. They're never going to get rid of the black market. Like it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I just to play devil's advocate, there's a chance they can make a hit on the black market. They can definitely cause an effect, and the effect would be due to the safety and the convenience of regulation. If you go to a store, you know what you're getting. Yeah, I know it's money. If you go to a store,
If you have a, I know exactly what I've been getting from the guy that I get. It's been the exact same stuff for the last 3 years, over 3 years.
Yes, but But the point there is the fact that you know that person, you are experienced in this field. Let's say, for example, someone like me who has only smoked weed 3 times in my entire life, okay? And it becomes legalized and I no longer have to drive big truck. And I was like, you know what? And like the times that I've tried it before, not exactly the greatest because of the people that was around. Let's try it again. I wouldn't know where to fucking start, right? So if there was a store, if there was a dispensary where I can go in and go like, hey, I'm a newbie. The last bong I owned was turned into a vase. Like, just fucking point me in the right direction. Then it would benefit me, right?
It would, but see, this is also part of the sinister plan, and it's a twofold prong.
Okay.
Right? It's first off, they got vaping to be popular, right? Then they made it so that you could vape with weed, right? And now edibles and the candies came into play, and the reason for all of this is because these are all processed means of intake, right? You can't just throw this in the ground, pick it up a few months later and smoke it. No, you got to run through an entire process for every one of those things.
Yes.
Right. So, and then on top of that, the social aspect of it, they've conditioned people to hate the smell. You are ostracized if your only choice of intake is through inhalation, and not through vaping, but through combustion.
Well, let's face facts here. Skunk weed is pungent.
To some, I love the smell of it personally.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's pungent.
Pungent is that there's a negative connotation.
There is a negative. Okay, again, it's all in translation, but yes, I'm saying that skunk weed, just as a baseline, skunk weed is a very, very strong smell.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. That it is, and as you go up, it can vary in smell too. Some can have like a peppery, some can have like a almost a salt, some can have almost a lemony, citrusy smell to it, and some can definitely smell like roadkill.
Dark
like
Avenger
you just fucking
yeah. Dark Avenger Gaming agrees that he just doesn't like the smell. His old high school stunk of it some stairwells. No shit.
That'll happen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, come on. There's no smoking in the boys' room, so the next best place is the stairwell.
Yeah. See, I can actually vividly remember my mother making shake and making oil and processing buds and stuff like that. And so I do know that at a certain point in time, the smell becomes less abrasive. And I'm actually I'm very familiar with cannabis. And at one point in time when I worked at that adult store, it was half and half. It was a sex store and it was a cannabis shop. I'm very much a fan of all the glasswork and the culture and the papers. Holy shit. The flavor and style and cut and density of the papers, the rolling papers for weed is just insane.
That's a dying industry because everyone's going to vapes and edibles and that because no one wants to be with the ostracizing smell. You can vape in a fucking Costco and no one fucking squeaks about it. Yeah, well, but if I were to light up a fucking joint, everyone would fucking run for the goddamn hills.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, the shit in the vaporizer is stronger than the shit that I got in my fucking joint.
Yeah, but you can make a vaporizer smell like velvet if you wanted to.
Exactly. People just they don't think. It's all about the social standing.
Yeah.
They don't actually think.
I actually used to sell a wide variety of vaporizers. They're way more high tech nowadays. But I used to sell a wide variety of vaporizers when I worked at that adult store, and it used to be a struggle, an absolute utter struggle to get people to consider using a vaporizer, even the handheld ones.
Those vaporizers back in the day were fucking giant pain in the ass.
They were, and like the vaporizer that the most popular vaporizer, and I used to say that Willie Nelson actually did endorse this specific vaporizer. Like, just as an example, it was about the size of an Xbox One controller, and you held it this way.
Yeah,
and
they were
a straw
beefy.
This way. It was what?
They were beefy.
they were beefy, yeah. And you used to say that you could pretend like you had a cell phone if everyone ever gave you a question or whatever. But here's the thing: is that that vaporizer it took 5 minutes to warm up.
Holy fuck!
Yeah, but that was considered fast. Now keep in mind this was 2011, so 7 years ago. Yeah, so vaporizers have come a long way. A severely long way, and a very impressive long way.
Yeah. Lithium-ion batteries are what did it.
That makes sense. Yeah, because I remember a lot of the vaporizers that I had were actually the one, like the tabletop ones, where you actually had to plug it in.
You had to fucking plug it into the wall.
Yeah. Oh, what do we got here? Fucking... fondue set? No, it's a vape.
Yeah, like, it looked like it. Some of them, it was fucking complicated. It was literally an old school fucking cell phone.
Yeah,
not this fucking discreet shit.
So anyway, the whole rigmarole for the liberals trying to basically either regulate or shut down cannabis in Canada.
Have a monopoly. Only the government can profit off a pot, basically. The Senate said, "Are you fucking serious? Fuck off with this shit. Go back and rewrite it."
They're already trying to stack on too much work for their own selves. They're barely able to get anything properly out of the door. Now they want to go like, we'll take this on too. No.
If they went into the craft industry, all the growers that already exist that are like high suppliers, pardon the pun, they're prepped to just go straight into a business. Literally, just you need the license, boom, done.
Yeah.
I've got everything else.
Well, imagine that conversation. Walk into a place and you're like, so I'd like to register to become a professional marijuana distributor. Okay, so what do you need? Supplies? You need this? You need that? And the guy just looks across the counter and goes, "Just give me the fucking license."
I just need the license. I'm good.
Yeah, I've been doing this for years. Now I just want to make it legal. Yeah.
Right. BC could be literally. For the longest time, it was known as the bud capital of the world. Aside from Amsterdam, if it was Amsterdam pot or BC bud.
Yeah.
Like, if you had either one of those, you were like, I got the shit.
Yeah, well, and that's just it. Is that BC was actually like we were on par, or I should go the other way around. Amsterdam was on par with BC. BC Bud was considered up there. It was considered one of the best.
It always showed up at Cannabis Cup.
Yeah,
guaranteed. There was always a strain from BC at Cannabis Cup.
And the funniest fucking thing ever is the fact that for the longest time, the war on drugs was in the States. The war on drugs was, we have to make sure that Canadian bud does not invade our borders. If we do that, then we'll actually be able to calm down and regulate the amount of illegal marijuana in the States. Yeah, 12% of all marijuana, cannabis that ever was smoked or confiscated in the United States came from Canada. 12%.
I'm actually a little surprised. I would have expected it to be higher.
Me too, but 12%. That's it.
Shit, I'd be stringing up a string of those ducks, those fake ducks, stuff them right full, and just have a little string that you could just like clothesline pulley it across. Just on one side, you just have a guy in the bushes going whack, whack, whack.
So
a guy on the other side.
Okay, so I got two stories. I would like to talk about the second one first because the gaming one is a little bit more fun, and I'd like to end on that one.
Sure.
Okay. Do you know the name Chloe Dykstra?
It rings a bell.
Okay. If you Google the name Chloe Dykstra, you'll see this incredibly attractive, tall, slender redhead with a beautiful smile. She is currently breaking back into the world of mainstream media, but she has for quite some time been on the YouTube front, mostly with Machinima and a few other companies. I think Nerdist as well. For 3 years, she was dating Chris Hardwick. Do you know the name Chris Hardwick?
Again, rings a bell. I want to say like football, NFL, basketball, something like that. Baseball.
No. Menard. Yes, BC was the pot capital. I remember when I lived back east. If you had BC pot, you had the best. Yeah, this is true. Chris Hardwick was the host of The Talking Dead, the show that followed up The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead. He's also one of the people behind the Nerdist company, I guess. Very hard into geekdom, social media. He was also predominant.
Anyone who watches The Walking Dead has no right professing any sort of fucking fandom, geekdom, nerddom, nothing. Worst fucking zombie movie, show, whatever, fucking terrible.
It's just a talking point. Okay? We're
talking about the person talking point ever.
We're talking about a person who hosted a show. That is all. Okay?
Worst fucking spin-off show ever.
Take another hit. Okay, so Chris Hardwick has also been closely tied to Comic-Con, being a host for different panels, high-level panels. Anyway, so Chris Hardwick and Chloe Dykstra dated for about 3 years, and then they went their separate ways. 3 days ago, which would have been Friday, Chloe Dykstra put up a post on Medium.com, and it was basically a I've been trying to figure out the best way to put this, but it's not an admission, but it's a tell-all, basically, about how when she was in this 3-year relationship with, she never named him, but people put the two and two together. When she was in this 3-year relationship with Chris Hardwick, who is 20 years her senior,
fuck.
Oh yeah, 20-year gap. She was in her mid-20s, and he was in his mid-40s. So
fucking red card number 1. It's not even a yellow card. That's going straight to a red card.
Yeah. So he was controlling. He was manipulative. He was abusive. He was psychologically abusive. And there was a lot of really, really, really nasty stuff. And she went into not graphic detail, but detail. And also in this post, which again, she did not name Chris Hardwick. It was the other people who were aware of the situation who pointed him out. She said that she wanted to get this off of her chest because she's moving into her 30s. She will be 30 this year. And the fact that she feels more confident in coming out with this because it's bothered her for a while because of the Me Too movement. And she apparently has evidence locked up somewhere in the chamber. So, yeah.
What does that mean? Evidence locked up in the chamber?
I'm willing to bet...
Like in the chamber of a gun?
No, I mean like
she has a metaphorical gun?
I'm just saying that she has evidence in the chamber. As in like she has something ready to go.
Gotcha.
Okay. So that would, to me, that would be conversations, voicemail, maybe video, maybe audio, maybe text messages, whatever the case may be. So Chris Hardwick took a day to respond, and he has, of course, since moved on and now has a family and whatever. Has taken a day to respond, saying he was utterly blindsided by all these accusations, blah blah blah. None of it is true, yada yada yada.
Boilerplate denial.
Well, who wouldn't, right? But also the fact that there was the other thing about how Chloe Dykstra's career stalled because she was essentially blacklisted thanks to Chris Hardwick and someone else, to which Chris Hardwick said that he never blacklisted or tried to impede Chloe Dykstra's career at all, whatever the case may be. Hollywood can be finicky like that. But now, of course, since Chris has been a predominant part of AMC, the broadcast company, with The Talking Dead and also his own talk show, which was about to go into season 2 called Talking with Chris Hardwick, and Comic-Con, majority of the companies have now all pulled away from him. So his show is canceled.
That's good.
Yeah, his show is canceled. His talk show... Okay, yeah, his talk show is canceled. Him hosting The Talking Dead has been put on the shelf.
Wait.
What?
Sorry, has he been charged and officially charged?
Not yet.
Or is this is all? Oh, okay. Then I will hold my his ass whooping is due when he's charged by the courts. I don't want to jump into the court of public justice.
No. In an official statement or an official article from CNN Entertainment, AMC suspends Chris Hardwick's talk show after ex-girlfriend makes allegations of abuse. Let me see if I can grab a few things. See. Chris Hardwick said, "I'm devastated to read that she is now accusing me of conduct that did not occur. I was blindsided by her post and always wanted for the best for her. As a husband, son, and future father, I do not condone any kind of mistreatment of women." Okay. Nerdist, the company that he was the CEO of, actually had to make a statement, because I'm a huge fan of Nerdist and everything they do on YouTube. They work with freaking Rob Paulson. Pinky from Pinky and the Brain, right?
Marv.
Exactly. But Nerdist had to go on statement saying that Chris Hardwick has no operational involvement with Nerdist and has not for the last 2 years preceding the expiration of his contract in December 2017. He is no longer in affiliation with Legendary Digital Medias. The company has removed all references to Mr. Hardwick, even as the original founder of Nerdist, pending further investigation. Yeah.
See, and that's kind of what concerns. I'm still on the fence about this because you don't want to further victimize someone who's already been a victim. right? I'm talking about Chloe,
Chloe,
right?
yes.
You don't want to further victimize someone who's already been a victim, but you also, it's very, very dangerous to just blindly throw that accusation out there. Now, granted, she said that she has evidence, and I don't really think she's going to just make that kind of a claim as well on top of everything else and not have something to back it up. That would just be highly foolish.
Yes. That would be career suicide for her.
Oh yeah, completely.
Now, understandably, the companies have distanced themselves from Chris Hardwick, and rightfully so, pending a further investigation. Dark Avenger Gaming says if this is all true, he deserves it basically for his career
Yeah,
in the tank.
100%. 100%.
If he was targeted and this is all false, he deserves more than an apology from everywhere. I agree.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
here's the thing that I know about Chloe Dykstra is like she's very much predominant and has been very predominant in social media, primarily YouTube and Twitch. She hosted a show for quite a few years with her brother, and there was never, not once was there ever any sort of like drama-inducing bullshit that ever came from her mouth. She was very lighthearted, funny, having a good time, hanging out, reporting the news, and giving her opinion, and always just on point with having fun with her cast, crew, as well as the audience. Not once was there any sort of drama pull whatsoever. So, for like my gut feeling is already like for this to just come out of nowhere from her, where her career is actually starting to take off and she's getting more predominant roles and she's being featured in TV shows and has some movie roles. Like, why, if this is false, why shoot yourself in the foot by making these false accusations? She basically has nothing to gain here other than to finally put right a wrong.
I disagree. She does have something to gain right now based on what you just said. If her career is just starting to take off, the publicity of coming out with something like this and it being truthful would really help propel her into popularity.
Timing would give her more traction. This is true.
Yeah. Again, not to say it didn't happen, but could be career motivated. Which, you know what?
Not
if
the
that
worst
happened
thing.
to you,
Not the worst.
yeah.
Thing.
If that happened to you, and that's how you, I feel, yeah, that's equal payment to me.
especially essentially if she had been purposely blacklisted.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Which would be interesting to find if there was any sort of truth behind that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, if this is all true, then I say all the power to her, and especially if she's able to use it in a manner to help her further her career and help her recover what was lost, then fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Tap at her. And to him I say, may Cerberus feast on his balls.
Okay, so yeah, like I'm a huge fan of Chloe Dykstra, and it's one of those things of, I hope it's true for the fact that I do not want to be lampooned with falsehood from her, but for fuck's sakes, like I certainly hope it's not true, but.
Given all the information, it seems highly unlikely that it would be false.
I agree, but if it is true, then like that's fucking devastating.
Absolutely, and fucking kudos to her for sticking through and not giving up.
She left him as well.
No. I mean, like with her career.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Not giving up on that, because I mean, facing that kind of blacklisting, like I mean, shit, you are literally facing the fucking wall of China, and you're an ant with no legs.
Yeah, no, it's a struggle. Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, shit, she David and Goliath, that motherfucker.
Okay, something a little bit more lighthearted. You ready?
Please.
How many hours a week do you play video games?
It varies.
Rough number.
2 to fucking 20.
That's a good number. No, that's a good number.
It varies. It depends on if I've got a lot of shit to do that week or not.
Yeah, my video game intake usually varies between 8 hours to probably about 30, depending on how busy I am. But the World Health Organization has now deemed that video game disorder, video game addiction, is a legitimate disorder.
Oh my fuck yeah! I heard that this morning. That fucking made me laugh.
Yeah. Unlike what a few stations and outlets have reported, there is no confirmation as to whether or not a video game disorder constitutes 20 plus hours a week. That is actually nothing more than a number that came up through a different report. They just asked a couple of Irish kids how many hours they play video games in a week, and it has no bearings.
They should be going to South fucking Korea. There are people who have died playing fucking video games because they refuse to go take a shit.
Yeah, or they have a blood clot in their legs because they don't stand up. Menard says she's a streamer on Twitch, so between 20 and 30 hours, and these guys can go feck themselves. Here's the thing, is that anything can be an addiction. Anything at all. Mm-hmm. Anything can be an addiction. So the psychology of gaming disorder through Platinum Paragon has brought out some points that I thought were worth bringing up. So gaming disorder was included in the mental health disorder in the ICD-11 in June of this year. So that's the article. That's the bill that was thrown in. The criteria includes frequent video gaming, given priority to video games over other activities, and repeated gaming despite negative consequences. So someone who prioritizes video games over cleanliness,
everything.
Yes. Due to the length of time required to conduct and publish research, no study exists which assesses the validity of the diagnostic criteria. So they're saying that video game disorder is potentially a thing. They just don't know what the criteria for that is yet. While we await research findings, academics have been publishing letters and papers discussing the pros and cons of the inclusion of gaming disorder.
Holy fuck.
Here's the thing, is that video games have become, for the longest time, the babysitter for children, which is why for a while there they were bringing up the article of there should be no such thing as a adult content video game, because
adults shouldn't be playing games.
Yes, the video games are for kids, blah, 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 blah. No, they're not. The video games are for everyone. There are, just like movies are for everyone. You just have to regulate.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, you just have to regulate who's watching what. I mean, my argument for years had been that you'd like, okay, way before Netflix, you don't just walk into a Blockbuster, or actually, a Blockbuster is a bad example. You don't just walk into a typical mom and pop video rental store and tell your kid, yeah, movies are safe, rent whatever you want. Because there is a horror section, there is a documentary section, there is an adult section. Just because a movie is on a disc or a movie is on a VHS doesn't mean it's for everyone. It's the same thing with video games. Just because it's a video game doesn't mean it's for little Tommy. It doesn't mean it's for little Susie.
I have such a cruel idea.
What?
I can't wait until my daughter's a little older and she's having a sleepover with her friends, and I hear them discussing watching an old horror flick, and it's like, I don't know, Scream or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And just messing with them.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Menard says...
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I would ask to see the studies and peer studies over this. I agree. You cannot have a proper study without a peer study review.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite stories is me and her friend were out for a walk, smoking a joint, and we come back. We're taking a shortcut to her place through a cemetery, and it's like 8 o'clock at night. We're both wearing dark clothes, dark hoodies, and right about the middle of the cemetery are these like white posts, just to let you know that if you keep walking forward, you're gonna walk right into a fucking tree.
Okay.
But they were flat on top, so I was like, hold on a sec, I'm gonna roll one real quick. And so I'm kneeling over and I'm taking my time, grinding it up, trying to prevent the wind from blowing it around. I'm busting it up. And all of a sudden I hear this noise to my right, and about 40 feet away, coming through the gate, it's 4 teens. I can't fucking resist.
Okay.
And so I keep doing what I'm doing. I'm just waiting until they get about, I think it was about 15 feet away, and all of a sudden I start going, oh, hey, did you guys hear that? What was that? I hear something. Did you guys hear something? I swear I heard something. Right? I'm giggling to myself, right? Just trying to keep it together.
Yeah.
And my friend is completely oblivious, has no idea that these teens are there, thinks that I just can't see what's going on. Right? So she decides she's going to put her face right next to mine, pull out her lighter, and go. The screams that came from those kids, greatest moment of my life.
That is awesome. That's freaking hilarious. Anyway, so video games have been considered to be like the babysitter, wrongly been the babysitter for kids for a long time. And that is simply because parents just
It replaced
assumed...
TV.
Sorry?
It replaced TV.
It replaced TV. Exactly, right? Now, keep in mind, like, there's nothing... Like, TV is not for everyone. Just like books are not for everyone. You can't just hand a kid any book and go, like, here, have at her. Because there are adult content in all forms of media. So... That being said, because kids have been taken, babysat by video games for such a long time, and now they're saying that there's this gaming disorder, well, no shit, because they've been trained to play video games and keep to themselves and keep quiet, and then the video game online culture has become so bad and toxic at times, depending on what game you play.
Holy fuck, yeah.
And the type of people that you hang out with, it's a bad situation. Now, this is due to many different scenarios all coming together. It being of the babysitter situation as well as a toxic online situation, and parents just ignoring their kids because of the fact that the kids are being quiet and keeping to themselves and leaving them alone so they can be a parent and do whatever the hell they want to do. And so now they are addicted to this thing.
So they can be a parent and do whatever the hell they want to do.
I don't know. I'm not a parent. So anyway,
it's ironically apt.
Okay.
Most parents, after a point, are just like, fuck it. As long as you're not causing shit that I have to pay for, I don't care what you're doing.
So anyway, the whole thing is just it's about the fact that this culture has been created, this mindset has been created for this silly situation. Anything can be an addiction. Work can be addiction. Health food can be an addiction. Cigarettes, of course, can be an addiction. Video games, video games, movies, and even trashy novels can be an addiction. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that addiction can be so weird and so prevalent, we would not have TV series like Hoarders or The Biggest Loser. Because those are spotlighting and trying to, in Hollywood, fix the addiction.
Mm-hmm.
So,
while at the same time just creating a new addiction of reality TV shows, or feeding into the addiction of reality TV shows.
Exactly.
I love the study that came out of BC that there's the original addiction study and then the one that happened just maybe 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The original one was they stuck a mouse or a rat in a cage and gave it 2 water bottles, and one of them was laced with heroin. The rat became addicted to the heroin, would only drink from the heroin bottle.
No kidding.
No kidding, right? Well, a few years ago, some guy was like, maybe it's because he's fucking bored. What if we give him some shit to do? They gave the rat some stuff to do, and it was amazing. Every so often, the rat would go to the heroin-laced water, but he would take like 2-3 sips.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Go enjoy his buzz, and fuck off for like a week or 2 or whatever, right? Before he'd go back to the heroin one. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It was just basically when he was like, hey, I'm just gonna spice up today a little bit. Right? And they also found then they wanted to test what happened to the addicted rats if they were put into this new scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Addiction just gone. Right? Like a staggering amount of time. I think it was like a week, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, but like the rats didn't have the quote unquote withdrawal symptoms, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
They weaned themselves off because they were given shit to do. And Iceland actually did something fairly similar with their youth. I think I might have mentioned this to you before. I know I mentioned it on the podcast before. But they went around to all the high schools and asked the kids, if you, what would you rather do now if you weren't getting drunk or high?
Mm.
Well, I'd love to learn how to snowboard. Get that kid a snowboard, boots, bindings, outfit,
Set him
get him
up.
onto the mountain,
Yeah.
set him up with everything he needs, get him a trainer, everything, all covered, all paid for. What do you want to do? I want to paint. Get him an easel, paintbrush, all the colors, get him a trainer, get him fucking Bob Ross if we could. Another person, I want to make Bob Ross. Get that person working with that person.
Yeah. Exactly. Jeez.
And their drug and alcohol addiction levels plummeted something like 80-90%. Like, it was ridiculous, but it was because they gave people something to do. The other ones, that definitely speaks to it being something else, is the actual cause of their problems.
Really?
Right? That 10 to 20%, it's, well, because I mean, if it works for 80 to 90% of the rest of the group, then it stands to reason that the 10 to 20% are either the quote unquote outliers, the ones that won't respond to the treatment, which actually, you know what, that falls into the bell curve. Although the 80 to 90% success rate really doesn't. That's like a statistical anomaly. To see that many orders of magnitude drop,
yeah, no shit.
That's staggering.
That's
But if they were to apply that model elsewhere, I mean, shit. A lot of people's depression and whatnot comes from, am I going to be able to keep a roof over my head? Am I going to be able to feed myself? Now, that's not to say the same thing that rich people don't have that same problem, because they have a different set of problems. Still the same thing. It's I would say it's this kind of void. Right? And I think for me personally, it's, I need to have a goal. Right? And I think if you reached a point where you had so much money that you could achieve anything, there was nothing outside of your grasp, it would feel as empty as the day that I knew everything.
Really?
If there was nothing more for me to learn, I would cry that day. I would probably not stop crying.
Yeah.
All right. The day that I know everything will be a sad day for me indeed.
Well, you have to, it's one of those things that you just have to, once you stop learning, then there's no point, right?
And that's it, right? But it also, I think in the process of learning, you come to a serious existential question of why are we here? Why do we suffer? Why is there so much suffering? What's the point to it all?
Mm-hmm.
And it all inevitably comes to the one question of or rather the statement of there is no point to it, which can lead eventually to the realization that it doesn't matter, that there's no point.
Well, there's a point to suffering, and my view is that the point of suffering and sadness and anger and stuff like that is to make the other side of it that much more substantial, right? You have to have a balance. If things are always good, then how are you supposed to know how good things are unless you have something to compare it to?
That's exactly right.
Yes.
I agree with you with 110,000 million quadrillion %.
I've been trying for the last little while to find an old article, but I can't freaking find it, unfortunately.
I can continue talking if you need me to.
Nah, no, I'll drag it up next time because it's just I'm not finding it.
Okay, it'll take a few seconds. I'm going to talk about the 4 control traumas.
Fine.
Right. So you got your interrogator, right? These are the people who, when they're losing control of a situation, they will start asking, well, why would you do that? That doesn't seem like a very smart idea. Why would you do something like that? Or, they're always questioning everything that you're doing, right? That's how they regain control of the situation. Then you got your intimidators. They're the ones who are obviously the bullies. They're, intimidating.
Right.
Then you've got your aloofs. They're the people who are just like, whatever, I don't care. All right. And last but not least, the poor me's.
The poor me's?
You need no definition of a poor me. Everyone knows a poor me.
This is true. Oh, geez, this is true. Holy
Everyone
shit.
knows a poor me.
Okay, so I'm going to bring this up, and I'm not going to name her name, but she's a friend of mine, and she... I don't know if she's diagnosed, but I do know that she tends to say that she is asexual. Do you know what asexual means?
Yes.
Okay, what does asexual mean?
Not interested in anything, unless you're talking about in the reproductive sense, and then asexual, it's not the hermaphrodite, it's the no sex. They can reproduce by themselves. It's not a hermaphrodite, but it's something similar.
Something like that, yeah. Well, yeah, no. She claims that she's asexual, saying that she's not interested in sex, and yet, most recently she ended up with 2 black eyes because she was having sex so rapidly that they accidentally smashed their heads together. Anyway, she also claims that she also says that she's I'm not 100% sure whether or not she says that she's bipolar, but I think she is. Here's the thing, okay? Her most recent status was and the heat has arrived. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Got my air conditioners going. Time to bunker down for the next couple of months. Fuck fun in the sun. No thanks, man. Okay? Here's the thing with Facebook, here's the thing with the internet, is that if you post something, the internet will always keep it. And she is known for, anyone who is a friend of hers on Facebook, she very much posts a lot of memes and blah, 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 blah. And majority of them are positive, some of them are lonely, and some of them are negative, and blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of self-confidence boosting and whatever, right? So anyway, she made that Facebook post. Not fucking 4 days ago. Not 4 days ago. She posted a meme saying, I declare that the next 7 months of 2018 will be filled with growth, positive change, healing, love, and breakthroughs. So I love this woman dearly. She is a very, very close friend. But this flip-floppy negativity bullshit that goes back and forth is just sometimes grinding. So instead of responding to her Facebook page about like, ugh, summer, yuck, 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 whatever, I instead, when she made that post, went back to that meme saying that the next 7 months will be full of growth, positive change, healing, and posted good mindset to have. Just as a reminder of like, remember you posted this just to make sure that, you know, you were positive and things were good. Dark Avenger Gaming says, yeah, social media is what I told I needed. Social media is what I was told I need to get really good at if I want to sell. The fuck's wrong with you? Anyway, so the whole...
He's not wrong.
Yeah, I know. The whole woe is me thing is very, like, I recognize that wholeheartedly because it's the flip-floppy drama bullshit stuff that I just can't stand anymore. Oh, sell his book. Anyway.
If he's doing self-publishing, that's fucking good difficult. On him.
Yeah.
Good on him. Fucking kudos.
My comic social media and promotion is very important. Yes. Anyway, I gotta wrap this up. I will find those articles, and next week, next week I will start a little early because I'm gonna feature an interview that I've been trying to have for almost 2 years now with a independent adult content creator by the name of Yvette. She has the tag of honeycakes on amateurporn.com. And I know, Dark Avenger, I will not be naked. But next week will be the interview with her, and then we will... Yeah. Sorry, dude. But yeah, we will have that interview next week, and then we'll roll into the regular role of the show. And no, you do not want to see Eli naked because the world will just end. There's just too much awesomeness there. It'll just implode onto itself, and there'll be nothing more than Eli and his brilliance. That's it.
Yep, I'll be standing there naked, and then I'll have to give you a warning that I'm turning left because I don't want to smack anyone in the face.
Exactly. Anyway, wrap her up. What are we going to call this?
Always good advice. Oh, my mind is right in the gutter today.
Yeah, you're awfully giggling today.
I am. My mind needs a balance from all the bullshit that's been going on.
Something, the boilerplate denial?
Yeah, because there's a lot of, like, every time someone gets caught, it's literally, nope, no truth to it whatsoever. It's a boilerplate denial, right?
Oh, okay. Something, boilerplate denial. We talked about cannabis. We talked about Chris Hardwick and Chloe Dykstra, and then we talked about video game addiction. Save file. Save file. The boilerplate denial.
Save file. Boilerplate denial. I like that it rhymes.
Yeah.
It's very Shakespearean.
Okay, we'll go with that. Save file the boilerplate denial. Does that work?
Sure. I'm pulling a blank.
All right, wrap up. Would you just fucking end the show?
You've been listening to another exciting episode of WTF ATTA podcast with your host, me, Elijah. You can go to the website, wtfatta.blogspot.com. You can go to your local email source and email me, wtfattapodcast@gmail.com. Don't look at me like that. No eye contact.
Run down to your local AOL store and submit an email to Eli.
Oh, perfect. I love it. YouTube, Twitch to watch it live, iTunes to pick up the old episodes on podcast, Stitcher, Blueberry to catch the episodes there if you want to. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like, subscribe, and Mondays at 8 Eastern PM. Fuck dyslexia.
You good?
And Thursdays at 9:30.
Okay, I'm JD the Media Jack. This has been the Flipside episode 429. Save file, the Boilerplate Denial. You can follow me social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, and on Mixer. And yes, by all means, run down to your local hotmail.com store and log on. You pay for minutes to go on the interwebs and go to www.emailelinudes.com to send him a message. Mom? Follow me all over social media, and thank you so much, Menard, Dark Avenger Gaming, as well as AP, and thank you to Eli from WTF ATTA for being a part of the show, and always speak from the skull. Next week, interview with Yvette, an independent adult content creator. Stay tuned for that.